Finding research articles using the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library at San Jose State University. This video covers the beginning of the library research process, using a few key features and resources at the library. I'll begin with several slides and then end with a live demonstration of how everything ties together. In this session, we'll cover the process of where to get started, how to simplify your topic into keywords that will become search terms, and how to use those terms with the library's Articles Plus catalog and Google Scholar. We'll also look at how Articles Plus can help us find more similar articles once we find one or two on our topic. Finally, we'll learn where and how to get some extra support with your search. Always begin your research at the King Library website, library.sjsu.edu. This gives us full access to the resources we'll use today. Articles Plus, which is the library's catalog that focuses on articles, ebooks, and online materials. Google Scholar, which uses Google's search engine to locate scholarly materials. And finally, we'll look at the library's subject guides, which are subject-specific research guides for your discipline. Before jumping into a search for articles, it's best to define your research topic. I suggest you start by writing it out in one clear sentence as best you can. This helps us simplify the ideas that we'll be searching for. Here are some examples. How accurate is ChatGPT when using it for research? The effects of too much salt on blood pressure and hypertension. Risk factors of community violence and the associated negative outcomes on adolescents. You'll need to do more than just copy and paste your topic sentence into the search bar. That's not a bad way to start, and you might find a few articles, but you need to know that long sentences clutter the search results because the catalog won't know what parts to focus on. Try to identify the most important terms within your topic sentence. What are the words you could pull from your sentence which would still reflect what your topic is about? Those important terms can be the key words to start your search. We'll look at how to do this with some of our example topics. In the topic of how accurate ChatGPT is when using it for research, we can simplify the topic even more. The terms we could pull from the sentence, which would still reflect the topic, are accurate, ChatGPT, and research. Those will be your beginning search terms. Please keep in mind that as you learn more about your topic, your search terms will likely change as you discover new terms that might better reflect your topic. But this is a good way to start. With the topic of the effects of too much salt on blood pressure and hypertension, the most important terms are salt, blood pressure, and hypertension. It's also a good idea to consider any synonyms. In this case, I'm using salt or sodium. They mean the same thing, but salt is typically the word we use in day-to-day conversations, while sodium is the more formal scientific word used in the research. Whenever you discover similar terms or synonyms, you can group them together by placing them in a parentheses and adding "or" between the terms. This tells the search engine that you would like either of those words in the search results. With the topic of risk factors of community violence and the associated negative outcomes on adolescents, the terms we could pull out that would still convey the topic are community violence, outcomes, and adolescence. Now let's look at where and how we can use these terms to find research articles. Remember that you'll always want to begin your search from the library's homepage. That's library.sjsu.edu. The homepage is always changing a little bit, but the things you'll want to look for are Articles Plus, Google Scholar, and research guides. Articles Plus and Google Scholar will be attached to the search bar, and all you have to do is click on the one you want to use to begin your search. The link to the research guides will be below in a drop-down menu. When you search with Articles Plus, you'll see a page just like this. The list of results in the middle and a list of filters on the left. However, the first thing to do once the search results load is to sign in. You have to sign in so that you have access to all of the features that the library offers. This includes the ability to place an order for an item that's not immediately available, and when you can do that at no cost to you. It also lets you save items and searches that you find and use. Just look for the push pin icon next to the results. Once you are signed in, any item that you pin will be added to your saved list that you can access through your account. Your Tower ID number and password are what you'll use to sign in. Filters are crucial in doing research. Always look for them. They'll help you narrow the results list to hopefully be more relevant to your topic. You should review the filters, refine the results, and then remember the filters by locking them in. The first filter is availability, and the choices to consider are full text online and peer-reviewed journals. Full text online will only show you the results that are immediately available, the ones you won't need to order. This is a good filter to use if you don't want to look at any articles that you might have to order and wait a day or two to receive. However, be aware that you will likely miss a lot of relevant results if you use this filter. Peer-reviewed journals is the other filter in availability that is important when searching for articles. It's likely that your research requires scholarly, peer-reviewed articles, and this filter is an excellent way to see only those types of articles. The resource type filter allows you to see just the type of item or resource that you want. If you're focused on just articles, then check the box next to articles. Those numbers in parentheses represent how many of that type are in your results list. The numbers will change as you do different searches using different terms. The publication date filter lets you set the date range for your results. This is helpful when you have an assignment that requires you to only use articles from the last several years. However, keep in mind that old articles aren't bad, but do try to start with the past 5 or 10 years so that you are as up to date as possible with what's happening within your topic. Finally, there's the subjects filter. Every item in the library's catalog is tagged with several subjects. The list of subjects is worth scanning. You won't always find an exact match for your topic, but look to see if there's something that encapsulates your topic. For example, when searching for articles on anxiety, you'll see that mental health is one of the recurring subjects within that article list. Selecting mental health as a filter will allow us to view only the articles in our results that have been tagged with mental health as one of the article's subjects. When starting your research, try to stick with 1 or 2 max at the beginning. You can always come back and refine it some more. Once you have selected and applied all of your filters, you'll see them listed under the Active Filters list. At this point, you must click on the Remember All Filters link. This will log in your filters so that every search you do will have those filters applied. This is important because you'll be trying different searches as you progress with your own research. Locking the filters in means that every search you do will use those filters. If you want to get rid of a filter, all you have to do is click the X to the side. If you don't click on Remember All Filters, you will have to reselect the filters every single time, which can slow you down. The other great features of Articles Plus is that every article will have an up-down arrow next to the title. Clicking on the up arrow will show you the articles or books that cited this article as a resource. The down arrow will show you the articles or books that this article cited. What this means is that you'll be able to quickly see the bibliography or reference list for this article and find those items in just a few clicks. This is a great way to use the article's references to find similar articles. We'll come back to this and I'll show you how it all works when you're conducting your research. We just looked at some of the features of Articles Plus, which is a way of searching the library's catalog for articles. Another way to search is by using Google Scholar. Now, neither is necessarily better than the other, and you'll want to do searches in both. There will be overlaps between the results, but this is a great way to find articles on your topic. Just click on the Google Scholar tab, enter your terms, and run a search. You'll see a results list of scholarly materials. Most will be articles, but not everything. If you see an article you want to read, use the links to the right to access the full article. There should be a PDF or a Find It at SJSU link to the right. The PDF link should take you to the PDF that is hosted online. The Find It at SJSU link will search for that article within Articles Plus to see if we have immediate access to it through the library. If you click on the article's title in a Google Scholar results list, It will bring you to the page on the internet where you can purchase this article. You won't have full access to the article unless you use the PDF or find it links to the side. Sometimes the article you want won't be immediately available and you'll need to place an order. If the article is available, look for the PDF icon or a link that says full text available. Otherwise, you might see a link that says request it from other libraries. That link will begin the process of ordering the article. This is called interlibrary loan and it's free. I'll show you later how all of this works. Everything we looked at so far is how to get started with your search for articles. The library also has access to hundreds of subject-specific databases. Their main job is to collect research articles within a certain subject or discipline. The databases you use will vary across disciplines, and while you'll search those in a similar way to Articles Plus, each database has its own unique interface. Fortunately, at SJSU, every subject area has a librarian who specializes in finding articles within that area and those databases. All of this information is available on research guides that the librarians have made. Each guide contains the contact information for your librarian, as well as links to databases that collect articles within your subject area. Please don't hesitate to email your librarian. You can simply tell them your class, topic, and what you need. Provide them with some of the search terms that you tried, and tell them what you've used so far. This can be as simple of an email as, "Hi, I'm in Psych 100W and I need help finding articles on my topic, how college students' mental health can affect their grades." Now that we've gone over the process of defining and simplifying your topic into search terms, and the tools you'll use to find articles with those terms, I'm going to demonstrate how all of this comes together during an actual search. I can't emphasize enough that doing library research takes time. You'll never find everything you need within a few minutes or a few searches. This demonstration is going to highlight each of the steps, but realistically, what I'm going to show you actually took me a few hours just to piece together. So let's get started. Okay, now we're going to put into practice some of the things that we just looked at. I'm going to be using the example topic, how accurate is ChatGPT when using it for research. I'm at the library's home site. When you load the library site, it'll automatically go to OneSearch, which is very similar to Articles Plus, but it covers like newspapers and magazines, theses, and those aren't bad things, but we're just going to focus more on articles, so we'll start with Articles Plus. And how accurate is ChatGPT when using it for research. So if you remember, we took that and we broke it down into just the keywords, and we're going to start with accurate ChatGPT and research and run a search for this. These are just our starting terms. As we learn more and more about it, we're going to have to make some adjustments, and I'll show you what that looks like. So from Articles Plus, we have our key terms, and we're going to run a search. Now at this point, it's very tempting to just jump in and start looking at everything. But if you remember, first you'll need to sign in, and that's very important because it does let you save these articles. As you find articles that you like and you're signed in, you'll be able to pin them and they'll come into your favorites that you'll be able to look at later. So let me go ahead and quickly sign in before I do anything else. If you remember, it does take your SJSU ID and password. It's the same thing that you've been seeing in everything else. Once you're successfully signed in, it'll bring you back to your results page. So let's take a look at some of those filters. They are very important because whenever you're running a search, you're going to have anywhere from just a few to possibly thousands of search results, and we see that number here. Just a heads up, if you just have very, very few results, or sometimes you'll just see no results, just double check that you're have everything spelled correctly, because sometimes if you just misspell one word, it will show you no results or tell you that no results are found. But let's look at these filters first, and they're always going to be over to the left, and it's also very similar to database interfaces. We'll have something very similar. If you remember, I'm going to focus on peer-reviewed journals, so those are going to be articles that come out, information that comes out of peer-reviewed journals. Because I'm not in a rush, I'm going to not click full text online from SJSU, because that's going to let me see some stuff that we don't have so that I can order if needed. Under resource type, focusing on articles. There are other items, books, book chapters, but this is what our assignment requires. The other thing I was talking about was publication date, and we're going to change that. So right now what you'll see is the publication date of the articles in your results list. And to be honest, this is just the last 3 years, which makes sense, right? Because ChatGPT wasn't written about 5 years ago. But you might have a large date range here, and all you have to do to fix that or change it is put in the number you want and put the checkbox within that, right? So we have peer-reviewed journals, articles, we have our date range set. I'm going to go down and look at subjects. And like I said, there's not always going to be a subject for that matches exactly what you have, but it's worth just checking. As you can see here, there are articles that have been tagged with ChatGPT, because right now when I'm running this search, it's just using it as a keyword, but every item does get tagged with a subject term, or several actually, and it's just really helpful. It's great if you can find an exact match. You might be tempted, you look at all these things and you say, oh, well, it's actually, I want to include that and that and that. I just really suggest just start slow, one at a time, and you can keep adding to them. So we have our subject filter, our date range, articles, and peer-reviewed journals, and I'm going to click apply. So it's going to take all those and run those through our results list. Here is what you have to remember. You have to remember. Lock those filters in, because we're going to be changing terms, right, as we learn new words and try different things. If they're not locked in, these always get reset. If you want to get rid of them, just click an X, right? But you've got to remember to lock these in, or everything gets reset. So now we're down to 148 articles from peer-reviewed journals from the last couple of years that have been tagged with the subject ChatGPT. So where do we go from here? You need to know that research articles tend to be very, very specific. They don't just look at general things like, oh, ChatGPT with everything to do with research. They're going to be very specific. So we're going to have to probably change some of these things around. And if this was your topic, you would need to ask yourself, what do you mean by research? Right? We're using that as a term right now, but do you mean research? Can mean a lot of things, right? It can mean school research, it can mean scientific research, that kind of things. But what I want to do right now, you got to take some time, and you just need to scan the articles to kind of see if you're on the right track, if you need to change some terms. But for the sake of time, I did go ahead a little bit, and I started scanning through these. These articles are all over the place in terms of the topic. When you're looking at these, here's the title of the article. Here are the authors and the citation information, and a quick first sentence of the abstract. So that's the information that we're looking at. You can see some of the articles are immediately available, read online, or there'll be a PDF or full text available link. Some you would have to order. So here's a request from other libraries. Let's say I wanted to order this article. All you'd have to do is click on request it, and it pulls up the articles page. So all the catalog in Articles Plus is made up of pages where every page is dedicated to an article, right? Here's that citation information. Here's the abstract, which is the description of what the article is about. Because I'm signed in, only when you're signed in will you see this link. All you'd have to do is click on that. Sign in again. If you've never requested anything, you might have to fill out a little bit of information, but it fills out the order form for me, and all I have to do is click Submit Request. I will get a notification when this PDF is ready, and they'll provide me with a link to come back here and download the PDF. It's that easy. Articles can take a couple hours to a couple days, so try to get those in as quickly as you can. So we have full text PDFs, and we saw how to order. But as I look through these, just taking a step back, it's important to kind of look through and scan to sort of see if you're on the right track. As I look through these, I notice that there are a lot of items about healthcare. So healthcare is coming up. There's diagnosis in a lot of different fields of healthcare, nutrition. There's also predicting potential illnesses and health issues. So there's a lot on health dealing with ChatGPT. So that's talking about health research. So a term that I kept seeing when I was looking at that list was healthcare. So I'm looking for key terms. If you start seeing same words repeated over and over in some of your articles, just try giving that a shot. So I'm now talking about looking at a very specific part of research, right? Healthcare. And I'll run that search again. You'll see that my filters carry over. Right? And there is no magic number here. So that we went from several hundred to now we're down to 77 with all of these filters. There isn't a magic number, but I want to get to a point where I feel like my articles are all kind of focused on the same thing, and I have a results list that I can spend 15-20 minutes scanning through it and looking at everything. So that's usually my goal. It's just get to a point where you can take the time to really look through these and see if you're getting on the right track or not. So let's, I did have to do this. While I was going through this, everything in here is dealing with ChatGPT and healthcare, but I noticed something. They weren't all using the word accurate. All right, some of them were using accuracy, and some of them were using reliability. Now that goes back to those synonyms that I was talking about. Whenever you have words that all kind of mean the same thing, you can list them up here with or. I'm looking for articles that have accuracy, or reliability dealing with ChatGPT and healthcare. Again, I didn't know those words until I started looking through the titles and some of the abstracts, and I saw that they kept popping up. So if you see repeating terms, use those, give it a shot. You're just exploring right now. You're not going to find all of your articles in 1 or 2 searches. This is still about developing your topic and understanding it a little bit. And look what happened. We went from just 77 articles that talk about that use the word accurate. When I opened it up to accuracy and reliability, it changed the search, and it captured all of those articles dealing with that type of research and focus. Talking about accuracy or reliability. Again, those are all. If you have something similar terms, put them in parentheses with or. And run a search. Those are all synonyms. And there is a lot of stuff in here on healthcare, all right? And that's a great focus. That's a great topic, actually. It feels there's a lot of articles on that, and we can see that this is a major focus of the research for right now. So when you click on an article's title, you'll get to the articles page. Again, there's all the citation information. If it is available in full text, you'll have a couple different options. Some articles you'll be able to jump right to the PDF. Other times you'll have to go into the database to grab the article. And that sometimes confuses people because something to note is that the PDFs aren't actually in the San Jose State Library's website. PDFs are stored in databases. And remember, there's several hundred databases. Databases are crucial to this research, but the PDFs are in any of these, and all you'd have to do is click that to get to the PDF. If you didn't have a Get PDF here, off to the side, here's just some suggested readings. Just check those out. See if there's some links to what you're interested in. The best part of this page, though, is the description, the abstract, and that's going to tell you what was studied, how it was studied, and what they found. That's what you need to focus on to figure out if this is an article you might want to pursue later or not. Don't judge it just based on its title. Go to the articles page and read that abstract to let you know. Right now, I'm considering what we're doing is, I call it the hunting gathering phase, right? I'm not going to jump in and just read every article that looks interesting. So I'll come back to this. This might be something that I want to look at later. And all you have to do is click on the pin. And anything that you pin goes into your favorites up at the top, and you'll be able to retrieve those and look at those later. You'll only be able to go back to them if you sign in. Let's look at a couple different aspects though. It could be the case. Let's say I'm working with you and you came to me with that, how accurate is ChatGPT in research? and you might have said, I might have took you down this healthcare route, and then you tell me, well, that's not really what I meant when I was talking about research. I was thinking more about writing, right? Like college writing and writing essays. If that's the case, that's okay. Just switch out. Everything else is still kind of true for what we're looking for. So we would just try writing. We might try essays, or we might try academic writing or college writing. And look what happens. The only thing we changed was writing, and then the database brought us articles. Not a ton, we're only down to 82. But as you look through these, it's really talking about the precision of and the accuracy of writing in the aspect of research papers, right? College papers. Is ChatGPT a menace for writing ability? Detecting AI-generated essays. Using ChatGPT for second language writing. Again, here we have healthcare research again. So it turns out, writing did open up a whole new search just by changing that one word. This is where you need to explore and just take the time. When I was looking through those healthcare articles, actually, that's what made me think about writing, because one of the healthcare articles was talking about academic writing. And that could be everything from writing articles, like the ones that we're looking for, as well as students writing using ChatGPT for writing essays and papers. And there is, this is a growing body of research here. And I want to stress again, once you feel like you're kind of on the right track, you just need to slow down, and here's where you'll just read the titles. And what I'm looking for is a new set of key terms. Maybe there's some new words that pop up, and make note of those, maybe jot those down and use those as other search terms. I want to show you that feature in Articles Plus with the sources cited and sources citing this. This is a good way, again, to find similar articles, because typically research articles will cite other similar articles when they're doing their own small lit review. What you need to keep in mind, and what we're about to see, is that it isn't perfect. And it will give you a message telling you it's not perfect. But we're going to look at the sources cited in this one. And what's weird, there's only 3. Now, that is not correct. It even gives us a little message saying something might not be right here. So this is not correct. There are actually many more citations for this article. I don't know why it does this. I don't know if it's just because it can't go through and pull out the sources from the reference page. I'm not sure. If you see something very few, you can know that something's definitely not right. But other times, a full source list will look something like this. So we have our 31 results. And you can then just take some time looking through those and see if anything jumps out at you. Anything that you want, you can save. And those are those pinned items. And you can see anything that I pinned to save later goes up into my favorites, and you'll be able to retrieve those. So it brings the whole citation up to that page. Then there's some other things to consider when we're refining our search. One thing I would tell you, ChatGPT is actually just the specific name of artificial intelligent writing. There's another term for it, but I can't remember, which is important because there is something like language learning model, is the name of the general thing of ChatGPT. Clearly, I know very little about it, but something that I might be able to actually refine this search, instead of looking at just a specific type of language learning model, I might just open that up. I might change that to like artificial intelligence. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually take a second and look to see what is that name of the thing that ChatGPT is called. So the best way to do that really is just run a search. Large language model. It's a large language model. So let me try something. I'm going to take out ChatGPT. Make sure everything's spelled correctly. There's 22. 22 isn't bad, but this is where things you have to just kind of keep in mind of everything that's going on. Do you remember that I focused my filters on ChatGPT? So right now, I'm only going to see things on large language model dealing with ChatGPT. So let me pull ChatGPT out. And to get rid of a filter, you just exit. And what this does, it's going to expand my search. And we can see we went to 104. So now we're talking about evaluation of large language model performance and reliability for citations and references in scholarly writing. Here we go. So the research is looking at large language models, which includes ChatGPT. So there's going to be ChatGPT stuff in here. But the research didn't just use just ChatGPT, because that is a specific program, a specific large language model. So this actually now opens up my research, and it's not really going in a different direction, right? But now my topic is a little bit more like, what is the accuracy or the reliability of large language models in academic writing, right? Or maybe scholarly writing. And this is what it's really all about, in getting started with your searches. And that's what I was saying, this can take a long time, so you won't get it all done in one run. Scholarly limited us down to 6. So it was, academic worked a little bit more, but that's okay. It's all about kind of fine tuning. I would look through these 6, right? There's academic writing. You can maybe change that to research writing. And you'll see repeats of articles that were in the other list as well, because now we're starting to search all within the same body or same family of research. And just give yourself time to explore. I'm just going to change it to writing. And it changed it from it was low hundreds to now 150. But those numbers aren't changing too much, and that tells me I'm capturing the same articles. I'm in a good subset. What I would do at this point then is really take some time and slow down and go through this list of 156 and just see if I'm on the right track. Anything that looks interesting, I would just pin them, and I'll be able to come back to them later. And you just click on your My Favorites up at the top, and you'll have that full list. Something else you can do that's also really cool, you can save the search. So just in the same way that I saved these articles, this is a really good search for this topic. I'm going to be able to save it, so I don't have to run everything again. It'll save these filters as well, and that's done right here. Save your search. It'll ask you if you want new notifications for anything new that gets added to it, but that went up here as well. It goes to My Favorites. And it's this time, though, the search is under Save Searches. And here's that. It has all the filters that I use, the terms that I used, and all I have to do is click on it, and it runs that search once again. So that's a time saver. What's really good about that, it could have took me an hour, and realistically took me an hour to get here. Let's say I'm tired, I don't want to do anymore. Just save your search, and I'll be able to come back to it later. And at this point, it is a rinse and repeat. You're just kind of doing this over and over again. You're refining your topic. It could be that it can take a lot more time as well, as I've said, but a lot of this refining is that I'm pulling the words that I kept seeing in the articles' titles, in their abstracts. I was looking for any synonyms. The whole thing with ChatGPT, in the back of my head, I had knowledge. I knew it was something, I thought it was just called artificial intelligence, but I knew that there was this other name for it. I had to run to, I did a Google search that pulled some stuff out of Wikipedia, and I was like, oh, it's language learning model, or large language model. And I replaced that. So you can see how it's very organic, and it takes a lot of time. You've got to really look at everything that's going on. I want to take a little bit of time and also look at Google Scholar. Google Scholar isn't, Honestly, I said one's not better than the other. That's not necessarily true. Articles Plus is better than Google Scholar. But what's good about Google Scholar is that it's a little bit more of a natural language. So Articles Plus focuses a little bit more on the technical. It's very picky. But Google Scholar is run by Google's algorithms, which understands natural language and mistakes, misspellings. It's a little bit more forgiving. While I was looking at those articles earlier on the large language models, I saw the word hallucinate. I saw that pop up a couple of times. So let's run a Google search for articles on the same topic, but dealing with this phrase hallucinate. Or see if we can find something on that. Google Scholar, put it here, just make sure that tab, and you'll run a search. It's very similar. You don't necessarily have a lot of the same filters. You're going to always have thousands of results because it's Google Scholar. It's Google, right? It's pulling in absolutely everything from everywhere. But it's a very, very good tool. It's getting better, and it's worth combining that and trying it as well. There's going to be overlap between what we saw in the other Articles Plus results, but it's just do the same thing. Let me change that to what we learned. Hallucinate with large language model in writing. Right? And it's very, very similar. It's the same process. Like I said, it's just a little bit more forgiving. If you see something that's interesting here, look for the PDF icon on the side. As I mentioned, if you're off campus and your browser doesn't automatically sign you in as an SJSU student, when you click on this, the article's title, it brings you to the page where it will likely ask you to purchase it. Sometimes if you're on campus and click on that, it will bring you to the page where you can get it. But in most cases, clicking on the title brings you to the page where you have to order it. So look for the things off to the side, the links to the side. Google's really good about finding the PDF if it's out on the web somewhere for free or just living somewhere online, someone else uploaded it. But otherwise you might see a Find It at SJSU. And really what that does, it's taking this and it is looking to see if we do have it immediately available at SJSU. And in this case, I would probably just skip that whole step because let's see if this does take us right to it. Yeah, which is really nice. Google Scholar is really good about doing that. But let me see if I can find one where it's just a Find It at SJSU. Okay, this was a situation where I couldn't find one that just had Find It at SJSU, didn't have any other PDFs. Every situation is going to be a little bit different. But when you click on the Find It at SJSU, it's going to take this article's title and run it through Articles Plus. And you'll see it actually takes us back to that interface. So if you run and start that Google search from our library's homepage, it connects it and speaks to Articles Plus to connect you to those, as well as maybe connect you to the database that has that article. So again, I could get PDF here. I'm not jumping into databases with this tutorial because every database is specialized. Databases are very important. You need to also run your search through databases within your subject area, within your discipline. That's very important. But again, this is just getting started using Articles Plus. And here this took us to the page online where we can download the PDF. So Google Scholar works in connection with Articles Plus. And again, what I really like about Google Scholar, sometimes I tell people start your very first search with Google Scholar if you're having trouble coming up with the terms. Google Scholar will let you write a little bit more of those natural language. Please don't write a whole sentence, but you can throw in a couple words with Google Scholar, and it also does a really good job of figuring it out. But you don't get those filters. It also pulls in things that aren't necessarily always peer-reviewed research articles. So that's just something to keep in mind. But it's a really good start for the process. We're back at the library's homepage, and I do want to talk just for a second about databases. As I mentioned earlier, it looks like those PDFs are within our library's catalog, but that's not true. Our catalog is just connected to the databases that have those PDFs. We have access, there's hundreds of databases. We have that from this articles and databases link. It'll take you to an A to Z list. And this is important to know because you might have an assignment that your professor tells you you must use the PsycInfo database. So you could go directly to PsycInfo by clicking on the P's and finding it in this list down here. Sometimes you don't know exactly which database to start with. You can look at the subjects and find your discipline, find your department. So if you were if you have to write a paper in chemistry, right, you could click on subjects chemistry, search, and it will show you some good databases to start with. This is the same information that's on those research guides, but this is just a list that focuses just on databases. Databases are tricky. Every database is a little bit different. You search them very similarly, but you have to kind of spend some time. You might ask, well, why would I go to a database if I can find articles in Articles Plus? Because Articles Plus doesn't dive deep into every single one of these databases. It pulls a lot from a lot of them, but once you know the terms for your topic, it is good. After you kind of figure that out and iron some of those out, try jumping into a database within your subject area. And again, you can find that from the library's homepage. Click on Articles and Databases and find the subject. And what I mean by subject is, if you're writing a paper for Asian American Studies class, go to the Asian American Studies page, right, and see the databases. For more information, for more research help, please do not hesitate to reach out for help. There's a number of different ways to do that. We do have live chat during the days, so this will pop up and you could chat with a librarian. We have a list of all of our librarians on this page. We have research guides that I covered earlier. Again, this is if you're writing a chemistry paper, this is chemistry research. Go to the chemistry research guide, and you'll have a good starting point here. Every research guide will have something like finding articles or articles in databases that will also tell you the databases with some extra information. You'll get to know who your librarian is, and you can just email that person and asking for help. Please do not hesitate to do that. We're happy to help. We will be able to respond to you via email. We'll send you screenshots. If you want, we can meet with you over Zoom and help you with the research process. When you reach out to us, just let us know who you are, what class is it for, and your topic. And we'll help you get off to a good start there. You can reach out to your librarian through that ways. And we have little librarian profiles here. We also have a help page. Ask Us, Help, they're the same. It will take you here. During live chat, you'll be able to launch a chat here. Here's our chat hours, right? Or you could just send an email to our collective pool of emails. So sometimes people don't reach out to a librarian and they'll just put their question here, put your contact information, and your question will get routed to the right librarian, and they'll follow up with you through email. So that's another way. And all this is on the help page, or look for the Ask Us link. The website is always being updated, changing a little bit, but the same information will be there. Just some of these icons might be moved around. So hopefully this was helpful in getting started with your articles searching. It does take time. Getting frustrated is part of the process. Just make sure that you're signed in, that you saved everything that you're looking for, and it's okay to take a break or come back tomorrow. Or come back later and when you feel a bit more rested. But the point of that is you can't wait till the last minute to do this, to really find good articles. It takes time, so give yourself some time to do this. And again, if you ever need help, ask us. Reach out and we will connect with you and do what we can. So again, thank you for giving me your time, and hopefully this was helpful in finding articles at SJSU.